Zeros on there would be appreciated.
Okay, well, it is 4 o'clock. We can call the meeting to order.
This is the cafe.
We stand and pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call, Wendy?
Here. Pop.
Here.
Heckman.
Here.
Cullen.
Here.
North.
Here.
Thank you. And of course, silence the phones and put them away. And can I get a approval of the agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda for the January 20th, 2025 meeting, Fire District Board meeting.
Second.
Any additions, deletions, or? Guess we got a motion and support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Approval of the minutes, December 16, 2024.
I'll move to approve the minutes from December 16th regular meeting.
I'll support.
Any discussion on that? If not, well, we got a motion and a support to approve the minutes of December 16. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Approval of minutes for January 6th workshop.
I'll make a motion to approve the January 26th, 2025 workshop meeting of the Fire District Board. I'll support.
Okay, got a motion and support to approve the minutes of January 6th workshop. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comments? No public comments? Okay.
Later?
I can do it again.
Holly's back there.
Okay.
Should do later.
Okay.
There's another one on
Oh, perfect. Okay, request for payments. The account payable. A lot of pages in here, you know?
here.
Yeah, there's
Most of it's for
CDA, yeah. Can we get a?
yeah, we're looking for the
I
final
got on the
tally.
back of page 10 of 126. That's usually the one that I... 233, 193.70.
I'll make a motion to approve the invoices in the amount of $233,193.70. I'll second.
Okay, I got a motion by North, second by Poen, and I believe this is a roll call vote.
Okay. North.
Yes.
Cullen.
Yes.
Aldrich.
Yes.
Pop.
Yes.
Heckman.
Yes. Okay, moving on to financial, Peter.
Okay, so we're on, I don't know what page, 13 and 126, the whole of the
Book.
So the revenues, year-to-date, we've collected 41% of the revenues that were originally budgeted. The property taxes are being paid and collected from the two cities and the township. And if you know, on the right far column at the top, all those ones, the interest, fire services, cost recovery, donations, all those, we've collected in excess of what was originally budgeted. So there's probably, I think roughly, if you add all those numbers, close to $80,000 in unexpected revenue between cost recovery, grants, donations, and interest. And then expenses, overall, I think, we should be probably about 58% right now. The payroll, everything looks in line. The only thing that's really over right now is technology, a couple new tough book computers for the inspectors, and then everything else looks in line. I don't know if anybody has any particular line item questions on the revenue or the expenses.
Are we done buying laptops now?
I think we have to buy one more.
Okay. Just
We have
one,
one
right?
failing, yeah,
Mhm.
one failing.
Well, anyone have any questions?
I have a comment on one of them, if I may,
Oh, sure.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
There's on page 10, because of limited room in here, there's near the bottom, Southside Body and Fabrication, 2120, that's a truck number roof. those are roof brackets, and there's a further explanation on page 12, but it's, when we put on the lighting for the new traffic management apparatus truck, just to show you, that was custom boxes for the lighting. So, item number 32 on page 12, it just shows you what that was for. There were probably 5 things that $3,000 bill was for. Just want to let you know about that. It wasn't just something for a roof on the truck.
Right.
Well, we don't buy the lighting from Southside, do we?
No, no.
You just, in
They
this,
made the
you just
boxes,
put it in there?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the aluminum signs for the donors, the George Supp Estates, and Mike and Bill, those signs are on there as well. That was only part of that package.
Okay. No other questions? Let's move on to item number 9, fire chief's comment.
Separately, it was not in your pack, you might have a page here, it says page 15, you should all have that.
Yes.
And those of you that were at the board meeting, I kind of presented a summary of this summary, but I think it's very notable for the fire board to bring it back to their respective jurisdictions on what happened this year and some of the extraordinary amount of calls we've had. As you know, we're up 17%. 31 of our calls are on top of one another. That's pretty significant from a resource allocation that you all know. Motor vehicle incidents, one of our big categories, is up overall 44%. We'll get to 196 down the line. As pointed out at the board meeting, 2 lives were saved by fire district crews with CPR and the AED. Drone team, has drone team there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
50% increase in drone responses. Number 1 missing category, missing persons. $41,000 in grants, $108,000 in donations. Doesn't really segue with Peter's numbers, but I think we didn't get one of the grants yet. So, 196, here's what's extraordinary. The highway responses are up 84%. So once again, my deep thanks to the board for building that TMA truck.
Has that been involved in any,
Hits,
no issue, no hits, of course, but like, has there been anything remarkable with its use?
remarkable in that it has inspired other departments to look at this, contacted from Holland Fire. They're gonna come and look at it this week. Just extraordinary that the county would dispatch it. They almost pulled us out this morning in South Haven. They had 2 semis down there that created an issue, but they didn't have to, thank God. We did 6 calls today, and it's 4 o'clock. And I don't have an over amount of staffing today. So,
Separate issue, is MDOT involved at all with any traffic management on the expressway?
no. That's why this, in the 13 years I've been active in this,
What's their response, just that they don't have the personnel, or what?
first time we called them when we knew we were alone, we asked them to clean up some hay bales that were spread out on the highway along with paint. And it was a shift change, and they said they didn't have anybody available for shift change because they were talking. So we had to take a truck with a snowplow truck and push all the stuff off the highway. Ever since then, no availability. Matter of fact, before your time, I brought them to the board. Said, you explain it to them, you're funded for this. And out of that came that MDOT trailer downstairs. So we did get some equipment, but we never get the help. When I had the 6 semis off the highway in South Haven, they asked for MDOT. Well, they were all driving snowplow trucks. There was no one available. So there was only 1 engine out there in South Haven. That's where we were dispatched. So I found that the only entity I can rely on would be the fire service.
Maybe worse
Do we have
than all
any
of it.
recourse whatsoever? I mean, is there anyone we can appeal to, or?
We've done it legislatively. I've done it with Mary Whiteford. And we haven't been able to get anywhere.
I think the bigger thing is the cost of it all. I mean, I'm a fan, if you want something done right, you do it yourself, but if it's someone else's job, they should be required to do it, and if they're not doing it, they better pay someone to do it, and if it's us, they should pay us.
I agree.
Right, if they're being funded for it.
We've struggled with this for many,
I know,
many
yeah.
years, and it's really, if I wait for people, and we're alone out there, and it's been very difficult. I remember, you've heard me say this before, we've got millions of dollars in assets for fires. We do probably 30 fires a year. That includes mutual aid, subject maybe 12 to 15. And at that time, we had maybe $3,000 or $4,000 in traffic incident management. That's the second largest category call to EMS. So the board allowed us to invest. The first year, I think it was $50,000, aero boards and cones and things. And it's graduated because there's such a need out there, because by the time MDOT sends somebody, it's all said and done. It's kind of like an active violent incident. It's going to be over in 15 minutes. The casualties are high, so it's risk-benefit analysis that myself as an incident commander has to take. Risk-benefit analysis. 5 trucks here, my only option is take a $700,000 engine out there. If you'll hurry over the weekend, I gave you a voicemail, Dan. I was notified that Kalamazoo had another engine hit on the highway. So that's where Holland came in. Their engines are Pierce's, they're 1.4 million. 4-year build. That's why I said you need a TMA truck. But back to NDOT, we saw firsthand, it was like somebody dropped bombs in South Haven on the highway. There were trucks all over, on their side, not on their wheels. And I have heard it on the radio, MDOT, you have to have early warning device, sign or whatever. Couldn't even get that. Then finally, I made a call to the supervisor. Said, I need another early warning device a mile back. So he pulled a guy out of Fenville to help out. We ended up canceling that because they changed their strategy on removing the trucks. They left some of them there. So I hear you, I don't know what to do.
The other big change over whatever it's been, just probably 8 or 10 years of these freaking texting. And, I mean, how many times, back in the day, if you saw flashing lights on the highway, you knew something, something awful had happened, be careful, slow down, whatever. Now, if you're looking at your damn phone,
Yeah.
you don't see the lights, you don't see the line if you don't have one of those things. I mean, I have to believe the guy in that box truck that hit the truck in Comstock. That had to be texting. I mean, he ran right into it.
He was funny. You look at that video from Channel 3, you watch that box truck, and compared to all the cars were like creeping, that
Yeah.
box truck
Yeah,
was
he's fine.
flying.
Yeah.
It's generally speed, and then
Is that what usually causes, other than snow, what are the main causes?
speed is the main thing. Well, distraction is a big part of it. It's not just the phones, it's the screens on,
the other,
it's the screens on the dash.
yeah.
They're getting so big, they're small. That is becoming more so of a problem than the
In the
phones,
phones, yeah,
because Michigan's hands off.
yeah.
But now it's the screens there, people are messing looking at the screens. Texts come up, things come up on that. So we've heard that a lot, other ones, just people are reaching for something. Normally is, if you can do 70, I'm gonna do 75. And what we feel is they don't even slow down. So,
How many people you see with a dog on their lap driving, that
Oh,
drives
yeah.
me.
Or-
insane.
or putting,
back seat.
all right,
Yeah.
or a frequent one in the morning is
Dog seat in the back.
putting on the makeup,
Well, yeah.
putting on the makeup like this, and
Oh, yeah.
so it's unnerving.
Years ago, used to drive to Florida, and she'd read. This is before all phones and everything. She'd be reading all the way down to Florida. Don't tell me, I don't want to hear it.
So I wish I had better news, Cap. Just total hours, 103% increase on the hours, 36% increase with trucks on the highway. Trends, this is really interesting. 17% increase, from 2023. Overall calls from 2004, when we started going back to the data from '04, to 2024, 5% decrease in fire calls. That's a good thing. We like that. 130% increase in total calls, 72% increase in emergency medical calls, 498% increase in other calls. Other calls are gas leaks, carbon monoxide, those types of categories. And the rest is pretty much, the rest. So that was the year-end statistical review I thought would be interesting. Again, we printed these, so if you want to take them back, you're welcome to do that. Pretty much incident reports are right here. I don't think I need to go over that again. Cost recovery update, we got $7,416 reimbursement from a rather large scene. That's a good thing.
What was that thing?
A semi-accident where I think they had to change 5 tires on the highway. It was
Oh, I remember, I saw that.
a fire.
Yeah, I came up on that.
Right. Status of the traffic management apparatus known as the TMA, or Truck 2120. The radio, siren, lights, headsets have all been installed. They're all operational. The donor signs, people that donated the money, there's one sign on each side of the truck. You'll see the meter release. We'll get that out as soon as we can. But the truck, it's ready. It's ready. Just to confirm, Scott Phelps was appointed by all 3 jurisdictions as the alternate member to the International Fire Code Board of Appeals. That concludes my chief comments, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you. Unfinished business, collective bargaining agreement with Local 5291.
Would you like to provide a summary?
You want me to read it all?
No,
me either.
Read the whole thing.
Mike, you can read it.
You can have it.
Sure. Want me to read it all? I will.
You don't have any other questions?
Want me to read it all?
No.
Okay. Well, what I will say, just to clarify, I guess, in your packet, where am I at? Page 56 out of 126 is basically the summary of changes that were made from the last time this body looked at the contract. So this was after the attorney's review and then meeting with Chief Janik. Respectfully, the local made these changes.
Essentially, Mike, if I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
We addressed whatever our attorney
Yep.
took note of. The union and myself came to terms with that, and we provided changes per his recommendation. And the union is ready to sign, if you're ready to sign.
Yes, sir. And if I will add, I don't know if it's what it's worth to add there, though, the changes are, I felt pretty good about the district's opinion on stuff. I think we did a pretty good job. And most of the changes were housekeeping that we kind of anticipated anyway. A few things in there, but overall, I think it went very well.
I have a question, I don't know if I'm
Yes,
allowed
ma'am.
to know or not. How much are the union dues? Am I allowed to know that?
Sure. Each member, 100? We had 100?
100 a month, yeah.
Each member pays $100 a month.
So $50.
Per paycheck.
$50, okay.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Assume they're pleased with the new health care deal.
Yes, I've heard nothing but good things about that, so,
Seemed like.
yeah. Yep, very, very happy with that.
Well done.
Yeah, thank you.
Well done.
And that's, the local's position is that we're ready to sign unless this body wants to do something.
I think we've been over it.
Yeah, we know.
I think if you continue to send this back to an attorney, it's gonna get picked apart.
Right.
You're satisfied with it, how it is now?
I'd sign it. I would recommend that the board vote to have it signed. I did it last time along with one of the fire board members, was Jane, however you wanna do it.
And Dan, you and Jane are good with this?
Yes,
As our
no, in fact,
liaison?
I think I said last time, or time before last time, I can't remember, how impressed I was with the rapport between the two groups. This was not a contentious kind of discussion, not even negotiation. It was thoughtful, and I thought on both sides, and
That's how it
the
should be,
result
right?
speaks to that, I think.
Thank you for that.
What do we need to do? Approve the collective bargaining agreement with local?
Yes,
So do I
I
need
make
to
a
make a
motion to
motion?
approve
I
it.
need a
Yep.
motion to...
Authorize,
Okay.
if you wanna authorize Jane, and when she comes back, she can sign it,
yeah.
but you're making a motion.
We don't have to make a motion to authorize the person, people to sign it. We just make a motion to approve
To
this, but,
approve it.
you know, do we make a motion to say you and Jane sign it, or?
I think the signature's just, whatever.
For more formality.
Yeah, formality.
Make a motion to
Once the
approve.
board approves it, it's on
Yeah.
tape, it's approved.
It's a motion, not just
Yeah.
a signature is.
Right, so,
Okay.
can I get a motion to approve the collective bargaining agreement?
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the bargaining agreement, local 5291-2024 CV8, oh. Change that stuff right there.
Yep.
Local 5291, the International Association of Firefighters, collective bargaining agreement. Second.
A motion by Poland, a second by North. Looks like a roll call vote.
Okay.
Poland,
Yes.
North,
Yes.
Aldrich,
Yes.
Spock,
Yes.
Becker.
Thanks,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes. Thank you, Peter.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Mike.
Thanks, Chief Jay.
Thank you.
Life EMS pilot program.
So, Mr. Meyer called me mid-December, we talked about this at the work group event.
No, you really didn't.
Okay.
I didn't.
Drawing a blank. Anyway, Mr. Meyer, our pilot program expired December 31st. He called me mid-December and said, hey, Greg, can we extend this another 6 months? And I go, yeah, sure. Well, it's gotta come from you. And I was waiting for you to contact me and what I wanted to do. And he is all for extending it with the caveat he wanted to meet in January. So we're still too busy. How about February? So those of us that met with Mr. Meyer and his supervisors, he asked to meet again. His words were, I'd like to get together and meet with your EMS committee that we met with before to discuss support.
What's that mean?
My instinct is that's money.
So we don't wanna do the 6-month extension unless, till we have a meeting with him, or do we? still
No, I
wanna do-
think we do
The
it anyway.
6-month extension is as we have the terms now,
Okay,
which is nothing.
okay.
So we would do, probably make an arrangement for a meeting subject to everyone's schedules in mid-February to find out. It would go until July 1st
Okay.
at no other cost. Now, I have heard from 2 other people, Life is back to staffing at our station from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. So they're back in the area again.
Right now,
How do we like? it?
Now,
That's really good, given the weather.
yep,
How do we like them?
I'm sorry?
How do we like them? I'm sorry, I think we.
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't even.
No,
Just terrific.
I think that's a fair question. I mean, they obviously feel happy with what we do here. They're probably looking at the dollars and cents of it all.
Of course,
We
they're
thought
for
they
profit.
would.
Yeah, right. I think they look at it from an incentive it's a great strategic location. And that's what you gave them, an opportunity for a strategic location. And for us, it's worked out tremendously. There's a lot of communication. I came in here Friday, there were 2 of them sitting in here Friday. I mean, it's just like, and one of them's a supervisor.
Maybe he wants to give us some money.
We had that, Wendy, in the minutes?
Nice try.
So, yeah, I read it, you know, Mr. Meyer is a businessman, so, you know.
Would you say that he's looking from the fire district to give him money, or is he going to, put more surcharge on the patient?
Very good question. So my response is, because I heard about this from Tony Shippa, who was the liaison for the Township for Life Ambulance. Keep in mind, he worked for AMR for 30 years.
Right.
He's a huge life supporter, and I talked to Tony on Sunday. And Tony said one of their supervisors is John Pinkster. He was my point of contact, no longer is. I go to the vice president and Mr. Meyer. So John said, well, they're not making enough money here. Well, I was a businessman before I was your chief. And I said, this is a record year. If you're gonna base your bottom line on 6 months, I'd have to challenge that. If you're gonna base your bottom line on the strategic location, you're never gonna make money here. That's not my problem. And the fire district isn't gonna pay anything, speaking for myself. We don't have that, we have to go to the taxpayers to fund that. So I said, Tony, I can't wrap my head around if they can't make money here, we don't pay for anything now. So as much as I love AMR, and I love the networking, I love the collaborative efforts where they're right here, if there's a price to pay for that, the board has to weigh, do we want to do that?
You said AMR, you meant what?
Yeah, I'm just.
Like, and AMR, if, say it doesn't work, so we have to bring AMR back in here. How's that gonna work out? But if AMR did the northern portion all those years, and Life did the southern portion, Fenville area, and everything was fine, Life has been given the whole northern area, the complete district. I'm not there to make money for Life. Maybe their overhead's too much, I don't know. And that was back to you. Remember the big difference in the rates? 1,700, 1,000. Why don't you raise your rates? And the user pays and not the taxpayers. That's what would be my advice of the EMS committee when they go before the body in February, is raise your rates.
I was gonna say that committee might wanna get together before.
I guess my question, I'm sure they don't have a one cost fits all. Someone in Kalamazoo is not paying the same amount as someone in Baldwin, Michigan.
Probably
where
not.
they cover.
I
So
don't
they
know.
have a sliding scale somewhere in there. So,
But you
like
would look
you
at the
said.
call volume, and you think it would be closer to AMR.
right.
Because there isn't, you know, there might be only 400 transports here.
Do you know, and I'm sure we can find out really quick, how much subsidies are supplied to them in Fenville? In that Fenville area? You know, Tony said that they do subsidize them.
Right. Don't you guys pay 22,000?
I'd have to check
No,
for sure, I'm not.
Was you guys pay that, or the taxpayers?
Each township pays into the Fenville ambulance. So
Yeah, I'm
Saginaw
not sure.
Township pays half of like Ganges.
Is that part of a millage?
Yes.
I don't
Taxpayers pay it, no
I
matter what.
don't pay for that, do I?
It's only the southern half of
The
the township,
southern-
yes.
yeah.
Southern half.
So it comes out of my
Okay.
taxes, since I live in the south half, but not up here.
And what does that equate to, I wonder?
Not much, I think it's like 40, 50 bucks a year or something like that, might be a little more, but worth it to have an ALS truck in Fenville. So,
Well, that would still be a sell to say you're gonna get the same service. I think you're gonna get better service from Life, but it's gonna be a tough sell to say you're gonna have to pay $50 a year to have that ambulance sitting here.
I agree, and I don't think it's gonna be $50.
No.
Right.
Because remember, that ambulance consortium in Venville, it's going all over down there. Lee, Pullman, this is not just Saugatuck. They have a huge population they're going to.
It's five,
So-
I want to say 5 townships.
Yeah.
that this covers.
I think when I was involved, they were getting like 280 or 290,000 a year.
Maybe we can pass that around to the short-term rental people.
You might want to.
I was involved recently where we had to call them, and, I'm telling you, it was, our EMS crew was there within probably 4 or 5 minutes, and Life came probably 8 minutes later. And when I hear the story, what you went through downtown Saugatuck last summer,
Right.
it's so worth it. I mean, I feel that it's so important.
I just, all I told Tony is we have no budget for this,
Mhm.
so if you feel you can't make money here on a record year, you know, why would we wanna pay for anything we don't pay out? You know, people get really frustrated because everybody wants more money for everything. So the problem is we don't own those ALS companies. And the cost of operation is so much. But I do feel a significant improvement in level of service with Life here.
Oh,
And they took-
huge.
The
Yeah.
challenge will be, for this committee dealing with, they've got all the numbers, we got no numbers. And they're not gonna give us those numbers, I'll bet you. I wouldn't if I was on their side. And the more you ask for, the less they're, I mean, they're just not, I mean, those are
There's still gotta be a cost ratio involved, and we can look at AMR's numbers going back.
We know what
We know
they,
that.
we know when they're transporting, we know the call volume. And you could, if it's transport, it's a minimum of $1,000, you know
I
that.
thought it was like 900.
I rounded it to 1,000,
Okay,
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think it's like 960 or something.
I mean, you get the people that will say, I agree with you, that maybe the user should pay a little bit more, just to have them here.
Well, it's just like your gas bill or anything else, your electric bill, there's a base price, and the user that uses more of a service pays. That's the appropriate funding
Yeah, but this
mechanism. Yeah.
fire board doesn't do it to the fire department. We all pay a user fee,
Right.
whether you use it or not,
Yep.
unfortunately.
I would
But-
think people's insurance, I know my insurance covered it, except that I had to pay $200.10. So my insurance paid the balance of it, so.
Well, I guess
We
I
paid
agree with Dan, that
250
maybe
or
our committee
210, yeah.
should try to get together before that meeting and at least have
Okay.
some documentation and some information in front of us.
or just a shared point of view.
Yeah, before we walk in and just start getting
I'll make a
bombarded
note.
by numbers. I don't even remember who was on the committee, you and I.
You, Jane was on
No, I was on it.
Did you go to Grand Rapids with us?
No, that's when Fran was here for that short period of time. I don't know if I'm back on it or.
it. You could be on it. Right, I was happy to have somebody else on it.
Well, I think I thought we had someone from each municipality, and that's what we should have, honestly.
I think Fran was on it for a very
She
short.
was, I don't think she went to Hudsonville.
No, she didn't.
Oh,
You mean Grand Rapids?
Grand Rapids.
I
You win both.
Who's Fran?
oh, she was our council member for like a month.
Oh,
I
I must
ju-
have been gone that time.
I just
She moved
think
to Saugatuck.
if we're gonna have a committee, I think we ought to have someone from each municipality, because we need representation instead of,
Okay.
we don't wanna be called out saying, well, you got 2 city members. They're making the decision for everything. It's like, no, let's
We've got
have
representation.
one of everyone.
Yeah. We've got it from each municipality.
The change back to having them located here would suggest to me that Life finds that economically in their interest somehow.
I think they find it advantageous.
I do too.
I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, instead of having nowhere to go, you know, they got a point of, you know.
Which is also a point of discussion when
Mhm.
you get to that point with them, that they have you know, they've got fancy cookies here, you got Coke Zero, you got whatever you want, you know, comfy chairs. Where do you get that? Also noticed on the call times, I think it's the far south of the fire district, the call times from Life were low, very low. I mean, not the number of calls, the response times come after, because they're coming out of Pennville.
sometimes I think.
I had, well, I mean, it's dramatically different, am I right?
Mhm.
Usually that, yeah.
That last gray
That
bar.
Fenville area was covering too many of the calls. That's why they had changed their strategy and moved them from, they put a crew at Blue Star and 41, exit 41. Then the 933, the Fenville truck, couldn't handle the load, they complained. So then they moved them here. That's what I was told about from one of the
So it's gonna be more commodious here than, what, the back room at the DP?
Yeah.
Maybe someday we'll have a garage for them, so they can pull in there and keep their units warm.
We could dangle that out for them.
Exactly. Okay, well, that's good news, they extended it, I think we ought to get together and before we meet with them, and
I've got a note to schedule something.
we got,
Send some
it's
out.
always tough to get these meetings in the spring because people travel.
Be nice to get them to come here, just for the pure meeting dynamic.
People only want to come here in July and August, you know, they don't want to come here in January and February. Okay, let's move on to new business. Department of Fire Prevention, year-end report.
On page 121, beg your pardon, 121, I asked Chris and Captain Chris Bernardi for a up-to-date year-end figures on what was inspected and what was not inspected on all occupancy categories. And Chris presented me with this report, which is very comprehensive, really great. Essentially, if you look at the left-hand column, it says occupancy classification. You'll see the different occupancies, like assembly, though it's a lot of people, okay? So essentially, if you look at this column, it says percentage increase in occupant types. It just shows how it's grown. So here you take the first one, A2, that's a type of assembly occupancy. You see 33 in 2015, well, now we have 56 of that category. So that category has increased 70%. We have more of them. That's what the meaning is of these columns, these three columns, that's what that pertains to. So you had an increase of 200% if you go to the totals to the bottom, an increase, maybe I can go up to this thing right here. So referring to this chart that Chris made, this data chart, so this just shows, here's short-term rentals, right? Short-term rentals. You know, 2011, 12, we were kind of right in the 70-mile, or 75 short-term rentals. Last recorded were 916. That's your demand,
That's,
right here.
that's amazing.
Chief, I guess I'm looking at that, and is it because we only inspect them every 3 years, that we only have 292 inspections in '24 with 916?
Right, it's because there were
So a
3
third.
years. Now the 1 year will start kicking in, this is gonna go up.
Okay.
Because now Subject City is 1 year, and the others are gonna start, Township is talking about that, we heard. The other one that's significant to look at is this one, S1. Example, Commercial Boulevard in the Township that's down the street from here, we call them toy barns. Big buildings, you know, 2,400 square feet. Put your boat in there, your RV.
Storage rooms and stuff.
18 to 80, 344% increase. So not only inspection, but the plan review, we'll get to that as well. So that's what this is showing. The columns on the right show what they inspected versus what we have. And they are falling behind, make no mistake. This short-term rentals is monopolizing our time. But you have to, that's a high-risk area. High risk. So going into the fire prevention, community risk reduction activity, here you have plan review 2015. You know, I remember when I did it with John Block, we didn't really keep track. We had 2 or 3 a week. It's just part of the thing. Now it's big time. So hours spent, look at the percentage of growth. This is what we're trying to show you, of what the Department of Fire Prevention is dealing with is tremendous growth. That's good for us, it pays the bills. It just
Does it?
makes it tough. Well,
That's my big question there.
it's like today, we averaged 3 calls a day, we're on our sixth call already. Tonight, my guess is we're gonna ramp up. But this is what, you want this is a good thing. Okay? That's just hours spent installing fire alarms. CPR classes, Wendy's our head instructor, right here. So all this ends up being part of the operational aspects of the fire prevention division. Chris does the reviews, he shares them with me, I go over them, Bernie goes over them, then they get kicked out. We cross-check one another. Bernardi is essentially on the street, and Chris Manos is doing the typing of the inspections. Bernardi does the entries for the inspections in the field on his laptop. Also, all the blueprints are in both their laptops. Does that make sense? Okay.
The only question I have is, I know we're not a for-profit business, but this sure seems like it takes up a hell of a lot of our people's time and away from everything else that's going on. And I have a feeling the municipalities are actually making money on our plan reviews. Is that?
I don't know, I think if we go to short-term rentals, the difficulty I've shared with you before is the scheduling. 3 or 4 or 5 attempts, because, I'm in Florida, you gotta do it, they all wanna get it done in spring. Can't, we're too busy, can't. It's our schedule, not always theirs. So.
We did take a hard look at costs against those and raised the fee to ideally cover our costs. I hope we are. I hope those costs haven't changed significantly.
We've evaluated it.
But if the guys if overtime is involved or whatever, we need to make sure we get all of that.
Right, like we did a review for a Saugatuck City residential dwelling that was challenging, I'll leave it at that. And I had to work over the weekend on it, and Chris Bernardi, and I sent an email to Chris and said, I want to get paid for this, and I'm overtime, and so is Chris Bernardi, because of the problems we were having with this.
To me, the same thing relates to, having to make 5 calls. Oh, we can't, we can't.
Yeah, there should be.
There needs to be some mechanism in there that kicks in. Okay, well then that's a plus 10%, and the next time you do it, that's another plus 10%.
Yeah,
we're gonna send them right back to the municipality and say, we can't schedule this.
If they shut them down, they'll schedule it.
Right.
Yeah.
Because it's tight, it has since the day I did it. I scheduled them and it was a nightmare.
Yeah, I don't think the owners of the short-term rentals take this very seriously.
Some do, some do, some
Well,
don't.
they take it a little more seriously now than they did 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But but anybody who's put the fire service off 3 or 4 times, can't do it then, can't do it then,
I think there should be a fine or something
There
like.
needs to be an incentive or a disincentive for them to do that.
Definitely, think we should have a limit, okay, you can only, get hold of them so many times and then you're in trouble.
Well, we charge them if they have to come back for a redo, right?
Well, if it's not compliant, we have a fee that we do charge them, so. And it's based on, what's our average amount of time to drive there and all that, so.
Well, there could be something similar if there's, the scheduling kind of stuff.
Yeah. Convenience fee, everybody gets away with those.
We have that on fire suppression systems, if somebody's not ready, fire alarm systems, there's a final inspection scheduled, and typically if we can't pass it as is, they get charged an inspection fee. That's what paid for the computers, these inspection fees for systems. Make sense? Okay, all right.
Okay, item B, Lighthouse Insurance Dividend.
Good news, somebody wrote us a check for
Yeah,
once, so you
yeah.
got 15% back a dividend paid on your workers' compensation insurance through Lighthouse, so another $8,500 returned to us, which is a good thing.
Good. Who is the agent for Lighthouse? Is that Mark Becken?
He is the VF, the Volunteer Fire Service. He's a different
Okay.
policy, so Lighthouse Group handles the workers' comp.
Okay. Moving on to item C.
Item C, there's a justification request on page 124 of your packet. You want me to summarize this?
Yeah, please.
Essentially, what we're asking is, we feel it is extremely unwise to buy another used vehicle. It is contrary to what this board decided years ago on small trucks. We already bought a used truck, and we are requesting you reconsider only allowing us to buy a used truck for a first responder. Everyone around us, every agency is buying a new truck 5 to 7 years. We're at 9 years on this truck. I don't know what the hesitation is. Everything costs a lot of money, and we're not really interested in a used truck. We'll keep what we have, and then when it dies, we'll come to the board and deal with it if we can't get support for this. But this, we feel, is the most cost-effective direction to go in. It's a new cabin chassis, okay, with a refurbished box on it for an ambulance. And it fits with our strategy and goal to be transport-capable ready. You have one truck now to transport, and if that one's tied up and you have to transport, you're supposed to have a second one. So the used one we got filled the need. We had a very limited budget at the time. I think the board gave me $40,000. And with this, we didn't replace, I think there were 3 trucks that were up for replacement. We didn't do any of that. As you know, we tried to sell engine 2112. Understandably, the board recanted on that, said, no, let's not sell that. So we tried to fund this. But you have it in the fund balance. I met with Peter already. So, I just have to say, I don't know why, since we're 24/7, 365, that we would have to buy a used truck for emergency medical, which is 60% of our calls. Also, some stuff, Dan has found some great stuff. Usually what you get with an ambulance body is you get, okay, maybe 30 or 40,000 miles, but then you got 10 or 15,000 hours. Not always. Dan found a 2016 truck. It was 2-wheel drive, not 4-wheel drive. Gas engine, not a diesel. Nice. It was $95,000. I can't wrap my head around spending $95,000 on a 9-year-old truck. Sorry. Not
This would be a transport vehicle.
transport capable is the only thing. Otherwise, I was just keep what I have. I mean, this 2015 is overdue to be replaced. We talked about this before your time. We went from 5 to 7 years on our small trucks. Okay? So we looked at this going, all right, we can push off, like my truck is due to be replaced. I would rather keep my truck and apply the money towards a new cab chassis with a refurbished box. But I don't, you know, I don't have what Saugatuck City has as far as leasing their trucks out in their buyback program. We don't have that. We have what we have. But all I know is we're going 7 days a week. None of these towns are. I don't care what you say. The police are, Douglas. But we're EMS, and I strongly encourage you to consider something new with a warranty that we already have a truck, a 2009.
This is where Greg and I were talking about before. I'm a little hesitant on supporting this. I think it's needed, don't get me wrong, but we found out about this 2 weeks ago, and it's still $250,000. And I just wanna make darn sure that we're all doing the right thing.
I'm good with that, Eric, as long as it's a board consensus and it's not one or two people.
I know, that's
Yeah.
my opinion, that was my opinion when I first saw this.
Right.
I honestly, I've had discussions, but it was more of, it seems like we're quick to jump in on this. And I'm not saying I won't support this, but I'm just saying, you know, should there be, I don't know if they make them, a crew cab on this? That makes sense. I mean, if we're gonna do this,
Mhm.
you know, there's no crew cab on this. You
Well,
got two people in this.
Yeah, they ride in the back.
Okay.
I think the reason there isn't a crew cab, and it's a good point, is the length of the truck.
Okay.
But I love a crew cab too for that kind of a truck. However, like.
With the box on it.
Yeah,
it's
right,
long.
it's just a longer truck.
It looks like a horse trailer.
Well, it really-
Well, it could be.
I don't, again, if it's a consensus to the board, you know, if you wanna wait till the following month, but just 'cause I have one board member that doesn't like it, I'm just, as an illustration,
Is there?
what does that have to do?
Is there a, because I know on the capital improvement plan, which is a smart thing to have, you know, you mentioned before on one of the replacement candidates or whatever, mileage to me is much more of a consideration on vehicles than model year. I mean, I'll take personally, my vehicle, I'll take a year-old vehicle with really low mileage versus a new one. You can save money doing it. And that's my only question here is, if letting go of whatever, the Expedition or whatever, at what mileage is that now?
That's 100,000,
So that's up there.
On a 2015?
15.
2015. So that's-
And,
I mean,
Yeah.
it's 10 years.
That's
it's
10 a year,
10,000.
that's
We held
considerable.
off
That's
on-
pretty average, right?
Low
we
mileage.
held off on 3 trucks in the capital improvement plan. What offset that was, okay, we had to buy a replacement for the 2017 that was total, right? They wanted to give us 19,000, well, you got about 50,000 into that. All right, that costs money. The TMA, we got half the amount of money, all right? But we did hold off on trucks. We held off on replacing 3 trucks in the capital improvement plan, because it's a fluid document. So I get all that. But looking at EMS as being our number one call, our core call, it was just my job to bring it to you guys. The last thing I wanna do is rush you in a decision, that's not my goal. You know, this was all in the capital improvement plan. Matter of fact, these trucks are both in the capital improvement plan.
I guess this is my feeling, my personal feeling.
Yep.
And no one influenced me. We kept the other fire truck. We had an offer to sell it.
Right.
We decided to keep it.
Right.
That was $233,000 in the pocket for a fire vehicle. If we're doing more calls like this, wouldn't that $200 and some thousand asset make more sense to replace it with this?
Say that again?
What, yeah.
In other words, we kept the fire truck. We were gonna sell it, remember it? We had an offer for $230 or whatever.
Yeah.
And we all said, no, let's keep it. It doesn't owe us anything, whatever. Well, what it does owe us is an opportunity to sell it and have funding for something that, according to you, we have more medical calls to have. I mean,
So
you
you're
can
saying-
keep all, what do we wanna keep all these old vehicles around and just keep on buying new ones?
Well, we don't have any place to put them.
Well, and then we're gonna look like, sorry, love John, but look like John Block again.
How often do we have overlapping medical?
31% of our calls.
Oh, medicals only.
That's tough, probably.
So,
But can't,
probably
sorry,
say, yeah, go on.
you could have a fire or accident and then have a medical, so that's overlapping. Or you could have a medical and a medical, that's overlapping, so I'm wondering what
We're growing
you're...
in population.
I'd say about 180, 60%, I'd say it'd be about 180 calls would be overlapping on medical.
I have another question. I think it surprised a lot of people, myself included, that the TMA truck garnered the wonderful amount of donations it garnered. Given that for a lot of people, explaining what that truck is about is kind of like, really, you could just put up some barrels out there, isn't that good enough, whatever? But it ended up being, whatever, 180 grand, right? Something like that. This truck has the potential for generating donations. You know who I'm thinking about. Who we might buy the damn thing, I don't know. I don't know that I'd make a big campaign, but it might be worth a few phone calls to see if that's out there. Literally, if there's 100 grand out there, that...
We did have somebody buy a truck for us. Remember the van? We had a van, first responder van, and her name was on the side.
Sure. Hey,
I guess just going
I'll
back...
put their name this big on the...
So what do you think, Dan Fox?
Yeah, Dan Fox.
Yeah.
Maybe, Meyer, right? But what I'm saying is, it's a lot of money. I know we need this. I've supported everything you've come to us with in my 16 years on this board. I don't think I've ever, well, I might have voted no once. But what I'm saying is, we just talked about getting rid of a $225,000 truck, and we're like, nah, we like it. All these guys are like...
Is that still on the table, or is that ship sailed?
I was ordered not to sell it.
Well, exactly.
But, is the person still interested?
I don't know. We could always...
But I think that might...
Yeah, Mike says no.
I'd love to speak on that. It doesn't, the reasons that we should keep it are still on the table.
I remember Mike.
To me, I respect your position, Eric, but to me, it's a different category. This ambulance body here that they're talking about is important in its own right for medical stuff. We're set up very well for fire. One of the nice things about being able to keep that, how do I say this rightly, it's like, yes, fires are a low frequency, but that's what we have to be most prepared for because of the low frequency, as equally as well as medicals. So, respectfully, the engine setup is perfect, in my opinion. This is replacing a medical unit that's, I want to say it's 107,000, not that that matters, but it served its time. And I think the future of the district is getting us to the point where we can serve the community by transporting if needed. And I'm sure somewhere down the line, we probably will be transporting because we're relying on private services that are for-profit. That's the short version of
Well,
what I think.
and you guys' opinion, to me, are the
Yeah.
most important. I don't have to drive these things, but if I fall down and call 911, I want something to show up.
I know.
Sure.
To be honest with you.
There's a big development they're looking at the township Tuesday.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we're growing in the township. There's no doubt about that.
Would the board, may I?
No, go
Would the
ahead.
board feel better if we just bring this up again next month?
I would feel better if we table this,
Yeah.
bring it up at our workshop meeting
Okay.
into a little bit more details,
Mhm.
and then maybe put it on next month's agenda to
Fair enough.
approve it.
So on the
What will we
next,
do with the truck it's replacing?
I'm sorry,
What are you going to do with the truck it's replacing?
sell it.
I guess my question is, the Ford Expeditions, aren't those duty officer vehicles?
They're duty officer vehicles, if, like, say you have some duty officers that live at home, and they'll respond from home and they'll take that truck.
Are they gonna take this truck?
No. No, they would take the, we moved down the line, we'd take a pickup truck, a utility truck, that Dodge with the utility
Okay,
box.
okay.
They would take that, like Mike Block, like Starring, they would take that. No, they will not take the ambulance, they will not be allowed to take those home. That would be for the crews here.
So if this truck would cost $240,000, we'd sell whatever we're replacing.
It
Probably won't get much.
Probably won't get, you know, I'm guesstimating, you know, 10 grand, I mean, that first,
Maybe.
like,
A little bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
you know.
And where does Peter say we're gonna get this money? Out of capital fund?
Well, we've budgeted.
Yeah.
We budgeted,
So,
okay.
the
All right,
capital plan deference
Yeah.
and your fund balance, okay, the primary, the fund balance. Because if you look at, we didn't replace the truck in 2023, there's 75 grand.
Okay.
We didn't replace the truck in 2024, that's 75 grand.
That's another
You take 75,000 out of 2025, that's 225,000, is your money.
Got it, yeah.
That was budget I did before I even talked to Peter, because we held off buying some trucks because we could. But now the 2015, we always were gonna get rid of the 2015 and milk the 2017, stretch out the longevity, but that was totaled by the drunk driver. So, then we decided, our strategic planning was, we need to be prepared for the zero-level ambulances, and that means transport. Because I can't run this department with one EMS vehicle. You know, I've got 3 engines licensed plus 3 others. So,
Can you reach out to your potential donor? I mean, is it something you?
Well, I was gonna say,
spearhead, or-
between now and the next meeting, that's 4 weeks.
February 4, I
To me, this
believe.
is a quiet kind of thing. And I mean, I challenge anybody in the room who knows anybody who might be so interested and so fixed financially
I
that
hope
they...
you weren't looking at me.
I'm talking about, but you know people.
I
You
don't
know
know
people.
anybody.
I mean,
Has that kind
the
of money.
individual, this is somebody, you know, has made donations, the chief knows, I've met a couple times, but very interested in the fire district. I mean, the individual who donated the junk for the TMA truck, it's just not public right on this, or is it?
it
On
is,
the side of the truck.
yeah, the
Well, not on
George,
the side of the truck, but I don't know if anybody,
George Supp estate.
huh?
George Supp,
No, I'm not talking about him.
Oh.
I'm talking about TMA truck.
right, George
I thought that
Supp.
was it.
No, it was Bill and Mike for the TMA truck and George Supp for the TMA truck.
Oh, so there's 2, yeah. Well,
2 donors.
Hess was the one I was,
Yeah,
his estate. I mean, that's the kind of thing that, you know,
gotcha.
those are people who might be worth a quiet call to just say, you know, FYI, not a,
Yeah.
no, write a check today or whatever, but
Yeah.
here's what's being considered and ta-da.
Heads up.
Is there any way before our next workshop that we can get an inventory of vehicles? You have that, don't you? Sure. And the numbers and descriptions, I hate to ask, but when, sometimes you rattle off 2173, and you know what it is.
Oh, I know.
Us board members have no
I hate the
clue what
numbers,
that-
I know, yep,
I think you're still 101, aren't you?
yeah.
Okay, I'm just checking.
Haven't been demoted yet.
But if we could do that, and then we
That'd
could
be
have a
great, yeah.
discussion
Sure.
about that. That's where I was coming from, is the old truck, and thank you for your shedding the light on that, I appreciate that. Like I said, you guys know what you need. We wanna support you any way we can.
We're happy to
You know,
come
there's an
back.
apparatus page on the website, right?
No.
You know, I
I do that in my spare time.
with the TMA truck, we were hesitant about that,
Yes.
and then the next week it was a giant blizzard, and I was so stressed out about everyone out on the highway.
That
and-
truck was out again last night.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so glad you have that.
It's out more than the fire trucks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of one of those things that I think the public should understand that. Because there's naysayers that say to us, What the hell did you guys do, buy a cone truck for? I've heard it already.
Oh, I don't agree with that.
I know, I don't either,
I would-
but they're not educated
I would say
on what we
to that
have.
person, why don't you ride with us for a month?
Show them that video.
Come with us for that video, you bet.
Yeah.
And then decide.
You come out and stand alongside
I
the
should do
truck.
that, 'cause I probably get a lot of checks.
Have
Right.
you drove through
Right,
Douglas?
maybe we do a campaign, show that video, and we know Aaron is
Well-
very skilled in that, so.
Can we,
maybe-
table this?
Sure, yeah.
How do we go about
I want
this? Do
you
we make a
comfortable with
motion?
whatever, yeah.
I move to table, the replacement of 2173 till our workshop meeting. I'll second that.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second to table.
At our workshop, we can't take any action.
Nope. No, well,
Should we put it on,
But it's only 2 weeks after that.
Okay.
for the
Yeah.
regular.
we can put it on hold.
yeah, we can put it on the next one
It'd
for
just be
a
a discussion,
discussion,
and then,
and then the
action.
next one for action.
Yeah.
Happy to do it. We'll get you this inventory, we'll get you these things.
Thank you. Okay, D, thank you from Telrad.
Telrad
We
is a
have to have
local.
vote on
Oh, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Good.
that. Sorry.
No, thank you. Telrad?
Telrad is a local radio company. Motorola is one of their vendors that they furnish equipment. And we had some growing pains with them when we went to the radio system that we have now in 2017 and stopped using them. One of the owner's sons got re-engaged in this and said, hey, let me make this up to you if you need something done.
Is that Mark by chance?
No. It is Mark, I'm sorry,
No,
it is Mark.
Mitch is the
Coyer?
father. Mitch is the
Mitch
father.
Coyer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Mark is the father.
Yeah.
I went
There's
to,
a trio.
grade school with him. I will send him a note thanking him.
Good.
On that too.
Didn't they make a donation a while ago of a radio? Or was that
No,
somebody
who
else?
did that was Motorola.
Yeah, okay.
The Motorola rep gave us a very expensive radio. So they approached Chris about, they had a Holland firefighter who specializes in low voltage wiring that retired from Holland Fire. We know him well. And he went to work for Telrad and is a real gifted radio tech and wiring person. And shorten the story, we said, yeah, please, go ahead and put all our equipment on. And there was no installation cost for the package. We added some stuff on, which we said we expect to pay for. It was about a $3,000 package for his labor.
Nice.
And he just wiped it off the slate. So, we're gonna send him a thank you card. That would be nice if you could send
I'll
send it to him.
Should we have them come here for a photo shoot when we do a,
I thought about it,
When it's
we do the
all done?
media release or
yeah, when it's
something.
all done?
Yep.
You can always invite them, they can come, look great.
Well, we did that with the,
Yeah, the auto body people,
Yeah.
right?
Yep, Extreme Auto. I'll write that down, Ken.
Okay, any correspondence? Doesn't look like any. Public comments, Holly?
Yes. Hi, I'm Holly Anderson, City of Saugatuck, serving as mayor, and so I wanted to thank all of you on behalf of Saugatuck for your work. The chief, you and your team, it's amazing what you do and to see the stats. Also wanted to thank Dan and Jane for their continued service and keeping the council up to speed with what's going on, and the board. So thank you all for your service. It's incredible work. And then finally on STRs, I know when Saugatuck changed our STR policies, and there was hardly any consensus about that, but one area where there was consensus was making sure that we were capturing all of the fees. You can't charge more than your fees are, but we did want to capture it. So, if we aren't capturing the costs for your work, please let us know. It's
Awesome,
important.
great, thank you.
And again, thanking Chief and the team for the work to help us come up with our new ordinances around safety related to short-term rentals. So, love the fire district, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Kathy, you could get up there and, on behalf of Douglas.
Well, yeah.
Thanks, Tom.
Yep.
Just a comment about, an age-old issue with housing. We had two firefighters, one of them is full-time, that live at Ridgewood Oaks right over here. And then Marcy, Kevin just moved to Hamilton to rent a house because you can't find anything here. Marcy has a contract on a house in Allegan. Scott Phelps used to live right here. Been with us 23 years.
Seymour.
Scott Seymour. Used to live right here, Blaine.
Scott didn't live on
Yeah,
the street.
Scott Seymour lived right back here. And now he lives in Shangri-La, which is, that was what you're going to see. You are gonna see it more and more because the pricing here is ridiculous.
We're
And
working on it, we're getting closer.
Good.
It's just a shame because, like Kevin is a very, very good operator, incredibly smart, and he had to make a decision to get out of the apartment over here he's expecting, and so that was bad enough. And then Marcy's been trying to get out of here for some time as well. And there's, I just looked at a storage building on behalf of the fire district that's $280,000. Well, she got a house down there, and it's not closed, but they accepted the offer. It was $227. You can't buy anything here for $227. And it's very frustrating to see me have these people this close. Then all of a sudden, they're over there, and then, let me work for Hamilton now. Let me work here. Then all of a sudden, the availability goes from here to here to here. And it has, and it will continue to have an impact on this, especially with people who are overcommitted doing this and that. So, just want to make you aware that I don't have solutions for this. We're kind of buckling down. If you're going to be a paid-on call, you're going to stay here. What we are not going to be successful doing is some people have been here 30 years, 28 years, they're not staying here. Linus Starring's not going to stay here. Mike Clark's not going to stay here. And I don't want to lose those assets. That's why I will not make them. They'll grandfather in. But it's tough. We got a guy in Hamilton who's part-time and, an asset, but by the time he gets here, he's not here on the first out the door. There's value.
We should update that chart that you gave us that showed the,
People that lived in
yeah,
the cities.
the
and-
distance that-
Yep.
Yeah, the distance, yeah.
I mean, it's just,
I shared that with my council, and it made it was
Impression,
an
didn't it?
eye-opener.
I just want to let you know about that. I mean, Marcy's only been here 2 years. She's very new, has not got her EMT license yet. She's now a single mom with 2 kids at home, works like 3 different jobs, one in Douglas, and can't get a break. Nobody can here when it comes. Phil and his wife live in Zealand. Nothing. I had approached James Brandis next door. Can I share that?
Yeah, please, do.
Under the request of Eric Beckman, I contacted James Brandis. I have a very strong relationship with James. And I said, hey, what would it take to buy your building? He said, what do you need it for? I said, we need rooms for people to sleep, 8 rooms, and not that. And he said, well, lo and behold, he's actually looking at some remote property. One was 10 acres, has a house on it, as he called it, a very unusually built house. was 2.3 million off of Wiley Road. And he had said, he said, I don't even know I pay the real estate taxes. So that's what's kind of happening here. And it's sad, because you want to have a community fire department, and those days are over. There are maybe 7 of us that live here. The rest of them, and then they serve their communities, which is a good thing, because we have strong mutual aid agreements. But the lack of availability is becoming alarming to me. And the geography. So,
That's why the next workshop meeting, again, we need to continue to move forward with housing, what we're gonna do for the future, what we're gonna do in this spot. You had some great ideas with the barn back there.
It's encouraging.
I mean,
yeah,
my idea was, James, what do you want? Almost, right, tell us what you need. And that would be cheaper than building, I mean, you'd have to remodel the whole thing, but it may be a way to go, so.
who knows, James' word is, put it in the bank, he'll let us know first, so.
Good.
He finds something.
Well, we got coming to fire board comments, and normally I would ask everyone first, but I want to say something first because it dovetails with what you're saying, and it's about board members. He can't find new people to come and work for him. You know, what's our plan for board members when we don't have any young people moving in? I'm the youngest guy on this board by 10 years. And I've been here forever.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
No, Stacy's
You don't even recording this. Stacy's 10 years older than me, I know that.
I'm
I may look older than that, but I know that for a fact.
Well, I know I'm older than Stacy.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying, we don't have new people.
I know.
New
We have
blood.
Abby as our youngest
To get on
board
these
member,
boards,
and that's our job, is to look for people, actually, because I can't see myself running again. I didn't think I'd run this time, you know.
And when you got a lot of short-term rentals, they're not homeowners, and if they do own it, they're not here, and especially in the winter. I'm just saying that it's not an issue right now, because we have it filled, but you gotta look down the road.
You need a succession plan.
Right.
For the
We're thinking of it, we really are, in our board. I mean, we're watching people. We got our eye out for you.
But with that being said, we can't change the bylaws,
Right.
because.
I think the 6-year term is somewhat prohibitive. Has there ever been, you know, I know it takes a while to get your training wheels off, but,
That's the advantage, that's the true advantage of the 6-year term. I mean,
I think
this
so
is a
too. I
complex
agree with you.
deal.
Totally.
It took me 3 years before I knew what turnout
No,
counted.
I-
Honestly.
The only hydrants were
I was
history.
there with John Block and Joe and all, and they talk, you think they talk alphabet soup now? They did it worse back then. I had no idea what was going on at half the meetings. And I don't know what you mean by 6 years. You think that's too long or too short?
I think it's a big commitment for people, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but
Well, I would be done in 4 years now. Well, didn't I? Yeah, I just renewed, but when I'm done off that board, I think I'm done off this board, so
I
that's
don't know
a natural
necessarily
progression.
that.
I don't think
I
you
think
have,
that's true.
I don't think you have to be a.
Well, we kind of made a policy, we want a board member sitting on this board.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean somebody might not be a board member for a while and then appointed to this board. So they may not coincide.
It is a.
You're not getting out of it that easy.
It's kind of like your same problem, but in a small scale. Well, it still needs, you gotta think about it.
With public safety, you couldn't do anything less than, you know, probably 3 or 4 years, because it's gonna take you a while to grasp
Yeah.
Right.
why do we have fire codes, and if you can't support that, you can't be on this board.
Yeah.
And I think that it once you get in the groove, it becomes easier to make those monumental decisions. But, understand 6 years was like a frightening long time. I don't know how, like, Holly and how, have somebody come in every year, or
Yeah.
is how they would get a grasp of it would really be tough.
Mm-hmm.
This is a special, be like running the police department. You gotta have a handle on some of that. So, I feel your pain.
Well, no, I'm just,
Yeah. Well, Stacy, you have any comment?
No. Now that we've determined I'm old.
Dan?
We can move on. Yeah.
If Eric is a good
Yeah.
wife learning there, females in the room, when you mention age, you probably already got one.
Oh, no, I
foot in.
go up because then they go, ooh, you look great for that. I never
She
shave
looks
off.
better.
Yeah.
She's more
Digging yourself out.
Yeah.
No, I have nothing, thank you.
Terrell?
I just want to say thanks for the ride today here, because I
Welcome.
probably would have called and said I'm not coming, so thank you very much, appreciate it.
We'll get you back too.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
No problem.
you were in Douglas and you didn't pick me up?
You could have
My fault.
lights and sirens.
We had, so many calls going on that we, yeah.
I have two quick things. First of all, I really enjoyed Saturday night.
Oh, that was great.
I thought everybody did a great job, and I think I told Chris afterwards, I liked the camaraderie, especially with it, and the humor and it was
It's
really
great.
nice.
It really was.
It was
I
very
was
nice.
so sorry to miss that.
Me too.
If it had
Yeah,
been-
but I didn't know which one.
Second of all, tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, we're having our groundbreaking ceremony at 415 Wiley. You're all invited.
Is it outside?
That's right.
No.
Oh, okay. Then we might be there.
No,
We're
we're not doing outside.
Okay.
Nobody had suffered.
What time again?
5 o'clock.
At the.
I think 5 o'clock.
Oh,
At the
I thought it was five.
I think it's 5.
5?
I thought
We have a council meeting at 6, so it must be 5.
Okay.
I have an interview meeting at 4:30, so.
I was gonna say-
We're gonna have to be there.
Relative to that appreciation dinner, we should also invite, I mean, you're obviously, but the mayors, and maybe the managers as well. So that's whatever, 9 people,
I
or 6
think it'd be good.
people.
Yeah.
2, 4, 6. I think it'd be a,
Well, it's a chance to see these guys ribbing each other, having fun,
Yeah.
and not being serious all the time. It's a tough job that they have.
That's a good idea, because I think you work with the manager more than anybody.
Indeed.
You really do. I know you spend a lot of time with Daniel.
I like the idea.
Yeah, it's good with me, yeah.
I think the mayors used to be invited, because I had to do it when it was over at the church. I had to speak on behalf of Douglas. Was that?
Go back, we had the
Was
building
that
officials,
different
we
night?
invited
It was
one
more like
time.
family oriented that night, though.
Well, there was a couple, you used to have a few more people, and then it got a little big, and
Then it was too.
they had to
Too
do
big.
plus one,
Yeah,
and
it
then
got
it
crazy.
was...
Yeah, the costs have gone like 4 times as much.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Okay.
Support.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Adjourn.
Thank you very much.
Where's my gavel? Oh, I-